Welcome to the first ever What the Flick. We're your hosts, Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, Ben Mankiewicz of Turner Classic Movies, and Matt Ashecliffe of Rotten Tomatoes, editor-in-chief of Rotten Tomatoes. All right, now a lot of you guys know what we've been doing. We've been doing the movie review inside the Young Turks. This is in fact going to be the second ever TYT Network show, so I'm super jazzed about it. And it's not rocket science. We're doing movie reviews.
I'd like to add to the informality already. Can we take the shot at me again?
Yes.
Can you introduce me again?
Ben Mankiewicz of Turner Classic Movies.
I just wasn't smiling, and I wanted to just hit that a little harder.
Hey, you know what? You knocked it out of the park, because that was an excellent smile.
I think I did. All right.
All right. So today we're going to review two movies, Shutter Island and The Ghost Writer, not Rider.
Not to be confused with the awful Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider.
Look, when we get to it, we'll discuss the name, because the name is unacceptable.
Awful Nicolas Cage, those two words don't go together.
All right, so let's get started. Let's do Shutter Island first. Ben, what's it about?
It's 1954. Shutter Island is an island off Massachusetts, outside of Boston. It is home for a prison hospital for the criminally insane, and Teddy Daniels, Leonardo DiCaprio, and his partner Chuck Chuck, played by Mark Ruffalo. They're U.S. Marshals, and they're sent to the island as a hurricane approaches because one of the patients, again, criminally insane, the worst of the worst, the most dangerous patients are there because she has escaped. Even though, like Alcatraz, it's an island, you can't escape the island. You could maybe break out of one of the prisons there. Essentially, there are 3 prison hospitals there, but you can't get off the island. So they're sent there, and then we begin to question exactly what is going on at this prison hospital, and is it as it seems, and are the things that Teddy Daniels, Leonardo DiCaprio, is seeing, are they as they seem, and what has happened in Teddy Daniels' past, and what happened to him during the war, and how is he dealing with his wife's death? She's died years earlier. And Max von Sydow and Ben Kingsley, who run the hospital, what's really going on there? Those are the questions we're left to answer as we experience sort of what is a weekend, a terrifying weekend at this prison hospital.
And I think one of the central questions is who's really crazy and who's not? Are the administrators crazy? Are the patients crazy? And it sets up a nice suspense. Now, what I liked about the movie was this was a movie. This was a professional movie. You go in, it's got gloss, it looks great, it sounds great. It sounds like as they're approaching the island, you got the foghorn, and you're like, I felt like I got to have some popcorn.
Because this is supposed to the island, you got the foghorn. That's what you need for a professional movie?
Yeah, apparently I do. Yeah.
If you're going to have a boat, you need a foghorn?
Yeah, because, no, it's not just that he had a foghorn.
Wow.
He knows how to set the mood. He was like,
I think that's what
being Martin Scorsese, the director. Let me say something real quick first here, Matt, because interesting that Cenk used the word gloss and glossy, because I've heard him use that term only one time before. I guess I have to make sure I have the year right. I think 2004 for The Aviator. And so, I mean, here's who likes you, who loves Martin Scorsese is you, and the word you use is glossy. You see a Scorsese movie, and to you, what that says is big movie, and you use professional, glossy. Yeah. That means to you, this is a movie. This is what a movie, when Scorsese does a movie, it's what a film is supposed to look like to you.
That's 100% right. Now, that doesn't mean I like all his movies. That doesn't mean I like this movie necessarily overall. We're going to get to that in a second. But, for example, Gangs of New York, disjointed, all over the place. I couldn't keep up with what he was doing.
But glossy.
But it was glossy. Okay, but that doesn't mean I liked it. But at least you know you're at a professional movie, right? So I liked the setting, Matt. I liked how he set it up. Now, to get to the substance of the movie, I thought the ending was a little too long, right? But overall, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole process. It was one of those movies where you wait and you wait and you wait for the end, and for me at least, I liked it, but they got to finish it, right? And did they finish it? That's a fair question. But I think it was a little long, but I didn't hate the ending. I thought the ending was okay.
Yeah, you know, I didn't feel like the movie was too long. I did enjoy the film. I don't think it's one of his best films. I think that Scorsese is great at setting a mood You know, he's really good at setting a mood, especially having just seen The Wolfman last week, which I didn't like, if you guys remember. And The Wolfman, one of the things that upset me about that was the whole idea of using surprisingly loud noises to make you jump. And it's surprising, it's not actually scary. And as I'm sitting in this movie, as I'm sitting in Shutter Island, I'm getting really tense, and I'm starting to think, where's the loud bang? Oh, I'm going to get it any minute. And then I thought, wait a minute, no, Scorsese's not going to stoop to that. He actually can set a tense mood. Now, that being said, the movie is flawed. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's one of his better movies. It maybe meanders a bit, I think, and I'm not completely satisfied with the ending. I don't think it necessarily holds up to some of his other great achievements, even some of his necessarily recent ones, but I think, you know, I did enjoy it.
Matt, you know, Ben was telling us that off air that, hey, you know, they really liked it in Europe. They didn't love it as much in America, but I don't really know what the other critics have thought of it. What is the tomato meter?
The tomato meter's got it at about 68%, which is much lower than we thought it was going to be, actually. We figured, you know, it's Scorsese, everybody loves Scorsese, how bad can it be? And I think, you know, on a certain level, critically, he's a victim of his own success, right? You start, you know, it's probably unfair to compare this movie to Goodfellas or Mean Streets or Raging Bull. But it's hard to let that baggage go with a Scorsese movie, right?
You know,
I mean,
it's interesting because I feel about Scorsese, and I don't, and I say this, and I get, you know, I wrote the review of it last night for Huffington Post, and I admitted some of this. I don't love Scorsese, and I mean that literally. I don't love him. I obviously appreciate him. I also don't love the Beatles. Mm-hmm. Like, but I know I'm not an idiot. I see all these other people who I respect, and I get like, yeah, obviously I get it. I'm missing something. You know, you know, and I love The Departed, and I love Goodfellas, and I love Casino. That's about it. The others I look at, and I'm like, no, clearly these are good. And you know, and I see Van Gogh on a wall, and I'm like, yeah, I don't get it. But I'm not a fool. Other people do, right?
So you pretend to like it.
Totally, right. But I'm sort of admitting that I'm ceasing to pretend. So the great advantage for me of that is that Raging Bull and Taxi Driver, I don't have that baggage. And so I can look at this and I say, I thought this was incredibly suspenseful. I'm also not bound by the book. I'm a huge Dennis Lehane fan. I've read almost everything that he's written, and I like it very much. He was a contributor to The Wire, so any things that he's done that have turned into television, I think The Wire is the best thing that has ever aired on television.
Strong statement, but I agree.
But
I don't know if I agree, but it's certainly the top 10.
Well, I've thought a lot about it. I put it at 1. Right. It's close, it's competitive, and I could see an argument about it, but I put it at 1. I couldn't finish Shutter Island.
Oh, really?
I didn't like it.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't know the ending. So I think from a Scorsese point of view, I put it almost the argument that you're making, Matt, like with Bruce Springsteen. Like, yeah, if you're going to compare every new album to Born to Run and Darkness on the Edge of Town, well, then they're all going to suck. Right? But you can't. And so, you know what? This was suspenseful. It was dramatic. I was literally, at times, I looked down and I'm like, look at this. I'm on the edge of my seat. I am literally on the edge of my seat. I don't know how it's going to end, and I think the trailer makes it seem like we're about to enter into some sort of supernatural horror. Scorsese showed the cast and crew, as he learned here in the 61 pages of press notes that we were given. He showed them a lot of horror movies. He showed them Val Lewton movies. He also showed them some great film noir, and you're right about the mood. But it did not go into horror. It stayed sort of in noir. Absolutely. This is a psychological thriller, and a very good one, I thought, in the end. So it's more Hitchcock than horror, and I liked it.
All right, so let's give our ratings so everybody knows exactly where we stand. I love this rating system. It's got the points in it, although lately I haven't been using it at all. You know, I thought this was somewhere between Departed, which I loved, and Gangs of New York, which I didn't like, right? And so it was suspenseful. In the end, I enjoyed the movie, 8.0, right? I liked it, but it's not in the ballpark of 9 or my favorite movies or even his best work. So a solid movie, 8.0.
You know, I don't want to make it sound like I didn't enjoy the movie. I did enjoy the movie. My biggest problem is that as tense, as suspenseful as it was for me, I felt like, and maybe it's a function of the ending, it felt somewhat unsatisfying to me. There's a bit of the ending that felt unsatisfied, so I have to give it a 6.
All right.
Really? Oh, wow.
That's tough.
Wow,
that's tough.
Didn't see that one coming. I was satisfied. This was a good sandwich. Mm-hmm. Not a great sandwich, but I would go back to that deli to eat that sandwich again.
I wanted to see the movie, the beginning of the movie again, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious about your rating.
In the B range, I'm going to give this a 7.5. I enjoyed this very much. I liked this movie.
All right, a 7.5 from Ben. And so I'm not good at math, so Jesus, I'm going to ask you to do the average rating here.
And to be clear, I had told the guys 6.5 ahead of time.
Okay,
so
I'd
forgotten that.
Well,
so
as we're doing the
better
review, you knocked it down a little bit. Oh, okay. All right, so what's the average?
22.
Oh, kind of suspenseful. Oh, it stops at 7.3. All right, not so bad, not so bad. All right, now let's do The Ghost Rider, which apparently does not have a guy on a bike with his head on fire. They should have never named it this, but Ben's going to tell us more about it.
The Ghost Rider, also based on the book called The Ghost by Robert Harris, a book that I also read, a book that I finished, unlike Shutter Island, which I did not finish. Mm-hmm. This by Robert Harris. This is about essentially about a guy who is ghostwriting Tony Blair's memoirs. In this book, Tony Blair is named Adam Lang, but it is so close to Tony Blair that there was concern in England that there would be a libel action. And in England, they're very serious about that there was some thought that even Robert Harris was very close to Tony Blair, that if they hadn't had that close relationship, that there might have been, that they might, in England, you can actually sort of, you can stop it.
Right.
And there had been some thought that might have actually happened. So it's pretty obvious that we're talking about Tony and Sherry Blair here, Olivia Williams playing the wife, and Pierce Brosnan doing a nice job as Adam Lang, the Tony Blair character. Ewan McGregor is the ghostwriter. He comes on after the mysterious death of the previous ghostwriter who dies on the ferry. I would like to point out also that in the other film that we reviewed, which you can check out on YouTube, Shutter Island, the movie opens with Leonardo DiCaprio on a ferry. This probably the biggest week in movie history for the ferry boat industry.
But surprisingly, no foghorns in this. So
yeah,
well, it was missing.
So now we know that Cenk doesn't think it's a real movie.
No, no, but I don't. I mean, like, no. Is it a real movie? Of course, it's a real movie. But it felt smaller than Shutter Island.
Right, because, well, anyway, this one directed by Roman Polanski, and so Ewan McGregor hired to finish the memoir, started by by his predecessor, who had been a close aide to the Tony Blair character, Adam Lang, and in the process of writing the memoirs, stumbles on what may or may not be an Anglo-American conspiracy to, as we learn in the film, to kidnap terror suspects. That essentially the story, and the question is it true, and who's behind it? And interesting, and I thought impressive casting in the movie, which we'll get into as we talk about the film.
And the director might be slightly relevant as well.
Well, I mentioned it's Roman Polanski.
Right. No, I'm saying as far as our conversation is concerned. All right, Matt, I'm curious. I want to start with you. What do you think?
You know what? This movie maybe went completely over my head, and I'll lead right off with that the tomato meter's in the high 70s right now. Mm-hmm. Reviews are still coming in. Most of the critics are saying that
higher last night when I looked. Yeah.
It's dropped a bit, but most people are saying that it's, most of the critics are really, really liking this movie. It's probably going to get our certified fresh designation. A lot of people are saying Polanski is back. It's kind of a return to form for him. That being said, this movie went right over my head. I didn't care for this movie.
When you say went over your head, are you saying that the plot confused you, or you're saying I just didn't like it? It was just not for me.
I don't think that the plot confused me. It was more along the lines of, as good as the acting was, and I think that the performances were good, I just felt like it wasn't going anywhere. The whole middle of the movie, the second act, just dragged on forever for me. And I felt like he's kind of, the Ewan McGregor character, who, which I thought was interesting that he was never really named.
Yeah. He's just the ghost.
Just kind of, I never felt like he's really that passionate about getting to the bottom of things. I felt like he's got this kind of casual interest in what's going on. And then the big reveal at the end, I didn't think was that big a deal. I thought, okay, yes, if that was reality, that would be a big deal. But with all of the political sniping that's going on between the U.S. and England, and is Tony Blair a puppet of the Americans? Having the reveal be what it was, and I'm not trying to spoil the movie. I thought, well, yeah, Okay.
So you thought the ending was a little schwang wang wang. I kind of liked the movie. I'm going to save that for a second. Ben, I'm totally dying to know what you thought, because it seems like we're all over the board on this one.
I did not think any of the acts dragged. I thought the book was excellent. You know, I think frequently when you really like a book, and I really like this book, the film adaptations frequently disappoint. You know, in our previous review, which again you can find on YouTube, for Shutter Island, it was a book I did not like at all, which is surprising because Dennis Lehandle, an author I liked, so it was not surprising then that the film adaptation was better than the book. But here, I thought the film adaptation was everything that the book offered, and the author, Robert Harris, adapted the screenplay along with Roman Polanski. I did not remember the book being as funny, and I thought that the screenplay was quite funny. There were a lot of lighthearted moments from Ewan McGregor, from Pierce Brosnan, from Olivia Williams, from Kim Cattrall with a British accent, and then of course it turns out what I didn't really know, Kim Cattrall, born in England, raised in Canada, then went back to Britain. She's British. I didn't really see that one coming. Yeah. And then I thought in a really brilliant bit of casting, which is a real credit to Roman Polanski, who apparently knows what he's doing when it comes to film, James Belushi.
Oh yeah, he was great, wasn't
as
he?
a bald New York publisher who I thought in his one scene stole the scene, nailed it. And I think again that was really a stroke of casting genius from Polanski.
And while you're talking about that, I have to point out Eli Wallach.
Eli Wallach,
who comes on screen, and I'm thinking, oh my God, they dug up Eli Wallach, and he was great in the 5 minutes he's got. He was amazing.
A couple of years ago, the sort of weak, well, not weak, but middling. Romantic comedy with Jude Law and Cameron Diaz and the great, brilliant Kate Winslet and Jack Black, who I thought dragged the movie down, The Holiday.
Yes.
You know, massively elevated with Eli Wallach as an aging screenwriter. Eli Wallach helps everything.
Yes.
Always helps everything. Obviously, you know, great career from Eli Wallach. But, you know, I thought this was a political thriller, if not at its best, at its near best. And, you know, we had seen, I hate to keep referring to Shutter Island, which you can see on YouTube, our review of it, but, you know, we had Max von Sydow in Shutter Island, who I don't think we mentioned in the review, but I think every movie, I'd name a movie that Max von Sydow did not make better. You can't. I mentioned that in my Huffington Post review of it. Can't be done. And he was in one of my favorite political thrillers of all time, 3 Days of the Condor. This movie had, you know, again, it was Sidney Pollack, 3 Days of the Condor, Roman Polanski here with the ghostwriter. You know, the storyline's not that similar, but there is one thing that they do share in common, and I had 3 Days of the Condor feelings in the ghostwriter, and that, from me at least, is a very significant compliment. It is again, a tense and I thought complicated but totally plausible and believable political thriller that totally held my interest.
I'm kind of between you guys. I guess I'm closer to Ben. I like the movie. I think it really worked as a political thriller. I like the acting. I thought Pierce Brosnan actually did the best job out of the bunch, although, you know, his character maybe did not have the depth of some of the other characters, but I thought he played it really well. But you're right, Jim Belushi, in that very small role, really stole it. It was awesome. But it felt a little smaller to me. You know, that's what I was talking about before. Like almost like you should see it on DVD. But I'm glad I saw it in the theater because it made it a little bigger.
It was smaller. I mean,
yeah.
It was
no,
smaller.
I know, and look, that's partly the budget. And so
most movies are smaller than Shutter Island.
I know, of course, and it's not fair to hold the budget against it. But overall, I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked it. We'll do the ratings in a second, but I wanted to have one more conversation about it. Roman Polanski, should that be relevant in our? Because I kept thinking about it. Like, am I allowed to like this movie? Polanski's the director. Does that enter the equation at all?
Well, I mean, look. You know, are you allowed to have Beat It come on the radio and like it? Yeah, of course. Michael Jackson was a musical genius. I mean, I've seen the police reports. I don't think there's any question he molested young children. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Mm-hmm. I think Michael Jackson is I think the evidence against Michael Jackson's offenses against children outweigh Roman Polanski's. I think they're both bad, but I think you can look at Roman Polanski's efforts as a filmmaker and obviously appreciate them, and I think you can listen to Michael Jackson's music.
Right, or, you know, to kind of bring in another example into this, you know, Picasso was notorious for being an asshole and slapping women around, right? Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean he wasn't a great painter, right?
That's interesting.
you know,
Yeah.
I don't get Picasso either.
I was going to say, I'm ready
No,
to
there
take
you
those
go.
down from the museum.
All right, never mind.
Instantly. Okay, now I hear you guys.
Yeah.
All right, so in the end, you know,
What's interesting, though, real quick, you can't help but watch a Polanski movie, and it's supposed to be set in Martha's Vineyard in Boston, and you can't help but think, that's obviously not Martha's Vineyard in Boston.
I know,
Yeah,
that's
right,
what I was thinking the whole
exactly.
time.
Right.
Where do they shoot it?
And
Where
by
do
the
they
way,
shoot it?
they shot it in Germany, and you know that he's doing post-production from prison. I mean, it turns
From
out
house arrest.
from prison. His prison is an alpine ski chalet in the resort town of Gstaad.
Oh,
but it's
wow.
still prison, sort of.
Yeah. No, it's not my idea of a prison. But anyway, all right, in the end, I liked the movie. I didn't love the movie. 7.2 is what I went with. I was going to go with a 7.0, but you know what? We got the point stuff in there. It was my idea. So I was like, yeah, I liked it a little more than a 7.2.
Go with Ben, because I want to
Okay,
bring
Ben.
the score down.
You know, I liked it a lot, and I'm trying not to go overboard. So, but I gave it an 8. I think this is an excellent film.
Okay, an 8's a solid score.
Yeah, for me, that's a big time score.
All right.
I
And
can't
Matt?
say this movie was a complete waste of time. I guess my biggest reaction is that I was disappointed. I was expecting something more out of it. You know, the old school 70s era political thrillers, like 3 Days of the Condor, like Parallax View, I really enjoy. And I guess there was something about maybe the humor didn't sell me in this. There was something about it that just didn't sit right with me. And I got to give it a low score, like a 4.0.
No, it's crazy talk. Crazy.
You're going to bring that average
Oh,
down,
I know,
man.
man,
Hey,
this
just let me
is
see the average. What does it come out to
Ridiculous.
that?
Can we drop the low score?
I've ruined Christmas.
Oh, this is terrible.
The Swedish judge coming in
this
with a
is
low score.
outrageous. This is outrageous.
I think everybody's going to be all right. All right, that gets a 6.4 overall for The Ghost Rider, and that's our first ever What the Flick. Come back next week. We'll do it again.
Very disappointed.
And we appreciate you joining us.